This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for Friday, June 3rd. Belleville, Ontario, Canada. Post-provincial election day yesterday. Todd Smith in our riding. Almost half votes.
Yeah,
50%,
49.4%. You could say today is Blue Friday, really.
Blue Friday.
Because, I don't want to say across the board, but the majority of it was blue. Not just Todd. David Piccini, Northumberland, Peterborough South riding, also was re-elected. And Rick Breesy, Hastings, Lennox, and Addington, also for the Progressive Conservatives. So blue in our area, certainly, but province-wide, the majority as well, because it's the second consecutive, what was it? I want to get it right. Consecutive majority government. So Doug Ford is back.
And increased. And that's rare.
Yeah.
If you have a majority, usually it gets depleted a little bit. Rarely does it go up. It went up 7 more seats. So again, that's like a 10% growth.
76 ridings were secured in 2018. This time around, 83
83 of
seats.
them. 8 seats more. Yeah. So, and you know, in the middle of the pandemic, when people were questioning what was being done provincially, and boy, we elected him for a buck of beer. Now we need to look like, nope. Come election time, all of that's, forgotten, and everybody wants to go in that direction. Cost Andrea Horvath and Stephen Del Duca their jobs. They're going to step down.
They're stepping down as leaders.
So as part of that, I suppose, when you take a look at Doug Ford being premier, he was elected just ahead of the election as the leader of the Conservatives. So 5 years ago, the leaders of our provincial leadership is completely changed over.
Yeah.
And though we have a second majority government for the Conservatives, there is going to be a new face of what it's going to look like in Queen's Park with the NDP and the Liberals with their new leadership.
It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next little while. But I was interested when Todd said, I was happy to hear actually that it wasn't just an observation you and I made. It was interesting to hear Todd say that even he felt that this was a quieter election. There wasn't the, now I've said urgency or the hoopla, I guess, in years past.
Hot button issue.
Yeah.
Or a scandal that dogs somebody. No. It's just, let's go.
Yeah. And again, surprisingly, numbers were down.
Yeah.
With voters.
I think it was less than 40% provincially on voter turnout.
Which I am shocked. I am surprised in this day and age that more people aren't getting out to vote. And in fact, less people are. But regardless, PCs are back in.
And we caught up with His Honor, which we call him because he is, cabinet minister, through a drive-through this morning. Post-election wrap-up, and the winner in Hastings, Prince Edward, is once again Todd Smith after election number 4. And thank you so much for spending some time this morning. You were in the drive-through. What does a provincial cabinet minister get when one drives through a drive-through, Todd?
Well, same thing as I get every morning. It's a large coffee with 2 creams.
That's
okay.
what it is.
All right. Good to know.
Powering your mornings. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Todd.
It's kind of hard when you win by the depth of the win to say, well, were you surprised? Because it makes it sound like we don't think you. But knocking on the doors, did you have a really good feeling that support was going to be this strong?
Yeah, we did. But you never know. That's the thing, right? You knock on the doors and you think, okay, am I missing something? There's a lot of sleepless nights during a campaign, even though we ended up with almost 50% of the vote in Bay of Quinte. So I just want to thank everybody in Bay of Quinte for their support and their trust in me and returning me for a 4th term at Queen's Park. It's pretty humbling.
And what was different this time around, Todd?
This was the sleepiest campaign that I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, we commented on that.
Yeah, you guys feel the same way, right? There just hasn't been a lot of news, and for me, typically I've always been the candidate trying to defeat a government, and so there's been ups and downs and swings, and sort of a real target that you're looking at. And with this one, it was just kind of, okay, we're just trying to maintain what we've got here. We're going to maintain it for 4 weeks. And hopefully what happened at the start of the campaign is the way it looks at the end of the campaign. That's exactly what happened. It was just kind of a sleepy campaign. I think voter turnout was way down across the province, a little higher here in Bay of Quinte, but all in all, it was fairly uneventful, I would say, is the best way to describe this one.
Well, a second consecutive majority government here in the province now. You're hitting the ground running today, Todd. It's over. Now what?
Yeah, well, Premier Ford is going to pick his next cabinet, and we'll get right back down to work again. And having really gotten to know this guy well over the last 4 years, he's a workaholic. So I suspect that a call will probably come at some time today saying, Smitty, we need you back here for June, whatever the date is. I don't know what it's going to be, but he loves to get to work. There's still a lot of things to accomplish post-pandemic, and hopefully we're post-pandemic and don't have to worry about dealing with this anymore. But getting the economy rolling again and getting housing built, hospitals, and all of those good things, highways, of course. So there's still a lot to do.
And before we let you go, you mentioned a lot of sleepless nights. What was the one thing that kept you up the longest throughout this campaign?
Tanya snoring?
Oh.
I didn't just say that.
Harmony School, that's on a billboard at Harmony.
Can I retract that comment? Just the fear of the unknown. And that's the same way in every campaign, and I think probably every candidate will say the same thing. You never really know what the other guys are up to and how they're doing. You know how you're doing, but you don't know how well they're doing. Mm-hmm. And so that's what really makes for some anxious nights, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and Mark did ask if you were surprised. Were you surprised at how the other parties did?
A little bit. I mean, the polling has been pretty consistent throughout the campaign. So you kind of thought, boy, this could be the end for Andrea Horwath and Stephen Del Duca if things continue to go the way that they are. And that's what the outcome was last night. Both of them tried their hardest and did their best, but fell short in the eyes of the voters in Ontario for sure.
Yeah, and when you get back then, June, when the Premier calls you and tell you to get in there, what do you think is going to be at the top of the list? One or two things that need to be done immediately?
Yeah, I don't know, really. As I say, there's so much unfinished business. I mean, the internet, I would say probably the broadband internet program is going to be first on the list because we've got a reverse auction that's underway to get everybody lit up across the province when it comes to high speed. So I know that was a priority that we didn't quite get finished before the writ was drawn up and we were into the election mode. So that'll be one thing certainly that he'll want to get to work on. Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Again, congratulations, Todd.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Sorry, Tanya. Sorry about that.
Me too.
So thanks to Todd. And if you did spend the night at his place, where apparently, his...
there was a lot of celebrating.
His young adult children had friends who thought this was like the coolest thing going and might still be there as we speak.
This is his fourth term, right?
Yeah.
And his family really has grown up and with him during this time, including his children, who he mentioned to us off air, are now of an age that they can participate in the celebrating. So yes, their friends were participating last night as well and congratulating Todd. So their house was a little crowded, I guess, last night.
Were there any in the pool, Todd? Oh yeah, the pool,
they were
the hot tub.
in the pool.
Yeah. So congratulations.
Good for him.
To
Congratulations to Todd.
And as he mentioned in there, back to work, working on broadband and things like that. Also on the show this morning, today is World Donut Day. Canada leads the way in donut shops per capita.
Per capita.
And if you're going to be famous for something, take that. That's a good thing to be famous for.
I did not know that the first Friday in June was National Donut Day.
Yeah.
But it is. And it's got a tie into the Salvation Army, who will be delivering donuts to our frontline workers today.
It's a good story. So back in the First World War, they called them, was it donut lassies?
I believe so, yes.
Women
donut
would deliver
lassies.
Like pastry treats to the soldiers on the front lines. In World War, so like over 100 years ago. And the Salvation Army continues to honor their efforts in a horrible time to deliver a little bit of a treat, sunshine to
say
soldiers.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
now we have frontline workers, and so those across the Cornwall region may be doing that today.
Yeah.
And that is
so not just
great.
soldiers, but yes, our nurses and doctors, our policemen, our firefighters, frontline workers as a whole, they're going to be out delivering.
Hey, anybody wants to deliver sunshine, I'm all for it. I am all for it.
Well, and if
Crazy
that wasn't
world.
treat enough, you reminded me that the Beebs Brew is coming out on Saturday. I saw the first commercial last night, so I thought it was already out. But no, it is. Sorry, not Saturday. Monday.
Monday, June
It's
6th.
out Monday. Sorry,
Okay.
not Saturday. Monday.
You could line up though, Saturday. If you want to get the first one, get there early.
Pre-order.
On Monday.
And it's a cold coffee drink, so
Yeah.
it's like an iced coffee. But French vanilla, to me, that's too sweet. And you make a great point. Why isn't it peaches?
Why isn't it?
That would be a great
I get my
cold.
peaches at Tim Hortons.
That would be a great cold or like a tea. You could have peach tea, iced peach tea,
Yeah.
and call it I don't know.
We need to be in the Tim Hortons strategy sessions. I don't know why they don't invite us. We
I
are
don't know
full
either.
of
Oh my
great
gosh.
ideas.
The things we come up with, honestly.
Most popular donut. I thought would have been the toasted coconut, which you didn't know. You learned something about me this
Okay,
morning.
we have worked together for 3 and a bit years.
But not on studio because of the pandemic.
Sure. I thought your favorite donut was an old-fashioned plain because
True.
repeatedly you tell me you don't like to try things.
I don't.
You just plain.
Plain.
And I like the plain donut
Meat,
too.
potatoes,
Nothing wrong with that.
Vegetables from a can.
So when you said this morning, you thought the most popular, which by the way is not available at Tim Hortons, I understand. The kind that you said, the chocolate dip
toasted
with the roasted coconut.
I can't get it. I can't find it anywhere.
I was
There's nothing
shocked.
to make it.
I'm like, you don't. That is so outside of your box.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. 'Cause
seriously, that's your favorite.
Yes. And then followed by old-fashioned
So did they
plain.
make it for a long time and just stop, or how did you
I don't know
become
the
a
answer.
fan of this donut?
I love coconut. I love things that have coconut on
I'm
it.
sure they have other ones with coconut on them.
I don't know. I like a plain donut with some coconut on it. And the chocolate.
Yeah.
Nice, warm, soft chocolate donut with that
gotta
is
have
my
something similar.
jam. I love those.
Well-
but if I can't have it, OFP, please, old-fashioned plain.
And that's nothing.
Cake donut.
The favorite, though, of most Canadians are the cream filled, the Boston
Cream-filled,
cream.
yeah.
That's the most popular donut, and cream filled donuts.
Yeah. So happy World Donut Day today.
On bicycle day as well, so you can enjoy your donuts.
Well, bicycle day.
and then go for a bike ride.
I really wanted to spend more time with that, but there
I
was
know.
so much stuff going on, including
could bring it
a
up on
segment
Monday.
coming up. Maybe, yeah. Because the whole idea behind World Bicycle Day was we were going to get more active.
Mm-hmm.
It's far better for the environment, and maybe you're unaware of the price of gas.
Maybe you haven't noticed that. But it's gone up a little bit.
So why don't we bike more? I'm going to contend one. Have you seen the price of bikes? You know,
Yeah.
for a bicycle.
Oh my gosh.
I thought, okay, like 119? No.
Have I seen the price of bikes? I have 2 children.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So I was surprised, what a new bike costs.
Yep.
But secondly, we live like farther away in the suburbs from the center of cities.
Yeah.
So what might have been in the old days, a 3 or 4 kilometer bike ride, or maybe, if you lived somewhere off Dundas and you zipped over to Pinnacle, it would take you 15 minutes on a bike. Now, like, you live north of Narnia
I was going to say,
like
could you
do.
imagine me biking the Oak Hills every
Oh my God.
every
Yeah.
day?
But even if you lived, on Maitland Drive.
Yeah,
in
to get
Belleville,
across the city.
Up in Thurlow Ward, and you worked here at this radio station
Yeah.
on the bay, it would take you 45 minutes to an hour.
I was going to say
each
at
way,
least an hour.
let alone the sweat that goes with it. So we've really, because of urban sprawl, made it more difficult for us to be bikers other than exercise or a hobby. Because we've got the bike lanes on Bridge Street, for example, and
Yeah.
various others that they've created. We're all for it. But World Bicycle Day was to shine the light on that. That Europe's got it figured out because they're biking everywhere.
But are their cities more, I don't want to say congested, but are they, what's the word?
In Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
like
there
population
cities?
density.
Thank you. Are
Yeah,
they
oh,
more
yeah.
dense?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
their city? Okay.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for them
Yeah,
to.
it's possible to do that. And because of that, and there are more cars, where are you going to park them? To me, it's always like, where are we going to park? It's not just the driving congestion. Where are we all going to stop and put these things when we're done driving around?
Yeah.
I told you, I walk my neighborhood all the time because I'm a street walker. And it amazes me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I pass a house and there are 4 cars in the driveway. I grew up in a 1-car family.
Mm-hmm. But
that's
again,
it.
how close were you to everything?
But that was like each family had 1 car.
But
we lived in Windsor, and my dad...
Your dad worked, so your mom didn't.
My mom didn't work.
My mom didn't work outside the house.
Driver's license.
She didn't say that. She didn't work outside the home.
Right.
So she didn't have to drive anywhere. Your siblings, when they worked, how far away was their job?
Don't know. My siblings by that time were gone. That was back when you get married when you're 19.
So they would move on.
They each would have one car.
And a lot of kids are staying home longer now.
Yeah.
And they do need their own transportation to get to and fro, not just work, school even, to get where they need to go. So yeah, and typically now in a household, you have two working outside the home now. Mom and dad are both leaving and going. So one vehicle doesn't cut it anymore.
But it used to be called the family car. Now it's everybody has their own car.
Yeah.
And
because we're all going in different directions and doing our things and yes, and the cost and the pollution and all of it.
World Bicycle Day was meant to. That was heavy. We didn't want to deal with that.
To remind all of us to get out.
But anyway, get
active.
Get on the pedals and help it out, and then. But what a tough story we had yesterday with the passing of John Smiley.
That was so sad. I saw
Smiley's
that yesterday.
Independent in Trenton.
Now, I did not have the same kind of contact you did, but I do remember doing a remote. We were on location. This was years ago.
Right.
At Smiley's, and he was right there, hands-on with me, did a couple of the cut-ins with me, took me around the store, showed me different things he wanted highlighted, of course, and talked about. But just, I remember being so incredibly impressed with him just in those, 2 or 3 hours I was there. Just such a nice, personable man, intelligent, he knew his stuff. Like, this was his store, and he knew everybody in this store, and he knew where everything. He just remember feeling very impressed by him and thinking, what a great man.
Yeah.
Honestly, just after a few hours.
When he took the store over from Bob Thompson many, many years ago, I remember thinking in my head, oh boy, Bob was really involved in the community. We're really gonna miss him. John didn't skip a beat. I mean, he was right back into so many things and programs and community.
And he
Honorary
did.
Colonel at CFB Trent is tremendous support.
I wasn't even aware of half of it when we were talking this morning.
I'm not aware of half of it.
It's incredible.
I don't remember half the stuff he's told me that's going on. That not only he's involved in, but hey, Mark, can I tell you something, and can you mention it on the air? Because we're doing a thing with a spaghetti dinner for the thing, and the proceeds are going and that. And it's like, of course, Joe, do whatever you want, because you're the guy that gets everything done. And I say that, and then we come back. He's like, thanks for saying that we made $18,000. It's like,
it's incredible.
I'm happy to help. Well, I didn't do anything.
And that was one of the key things that Mayor Jim Harrison said this morning. He was always there. You didn't have to ask twice.
Yep. And so he was very gracious in letting us bend his ear this morning, as he is a lot of mornings.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Your Worship.
Good morning.
Hey, you both sound like you've been up for a while.
Yeah. You too. Where are you right now? You out in the barn?
No, I'm just in the living room watching scenery. A nice, in front of my house, I got about a 10-acre field of hay. Mm-hmm. And I'd say it's one of the best crops we've had in the last 4 or 5 years.
You'll be cutting that soon.
Good to hear.
That's right, yeah.
But as Charity mentions, that hay's not cutting itself, Your Worship.
No, that's right.
You know, you've had the opportunity to lead this great city, and economically it's on the upswing, and one of the gentlemen responsible for that we lost this week. Your thoughts on the passing of John Smiley?
Well, I'll tell you, it still is a shock. I can hardly believe it, but I know it's, and he was just a great contributor in so many ways. He helped us with, the hospital, keeping it functioning, worked hard there, the military, a great supporter of all military activities, and the Christmas baskets for the needy, helped us there. Just his family and John, great all-around people, supporters of so many great things.
His list of accomplishments, too, includes stuff like the Rotary Club, the Quinte West Chamber of Commerce, of which he was recognized in 2016 as a President's Trophy winner. As you mentioned, chair of the Trenton Memorial Hospital Foundation, the stuff he did in the community. But I know that he was kind of a quiet guy behind the scenes. He was always really involved. He had his fingers in a lot of different pies.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, and that's the way a lot of people work. They're just there and ready to work, ready to help. ready to roll up their sleeves whenever they're needed. And that's a big part of every municipality. John was a pillar of strength when it came to that.
And in a lot of these instances, you were there with them. Personally, Mayor Harrison, any stories that you can share with us? Any standout moments with John?
Well, none that, all I can say is he was there when you needed him. It wasn't, I didn't spend a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time to spend, but...
Busy yourself.
Yeah, he's just always there and... always willing to help.
Here's a typical one. It was mid-December. He's straightening up a vegetable display. And I went over to say hi and wish him a Merry Christmas. And that's when he told me he was retiring and handing the store over to his son and daughter-in-law. And was so looking forward to his retirement because his 7th grandchild was on the way. And that was just 6 months ago. And that's the other part that rips your heart out.
That's right. His family, it's a big loss for his family, a big loss, and of course we all are, and that just shows how important it is you appreciate every day, and you make every day important and make every day count. Life is very precious, and this demonstrates just how precious it is.
Absolutely.
For sure. We really appreciate your time at this tough time, and you keep looking at that hay.
Yeah, I will. And enjoy your day, folks, and have a great weekend.
We
you
appreciate
too.
it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So, yeah, that was a real, as
incredibly
I said,
sad news.
gut punch into Angela and the family, and
everyone.
It was a time. It wasn't long ago, a year and a half ago. Saw John in the store and said hi, and he said, boy, with the pandemic and everything, you getting out shopping much? And I said, oh, yeah. And Angela was standing right beside him. She said, he's here almost as much as we are. And I said, do you take attendance of shoppers? She's like, I see who's in the store.
She watches the video.
Yeah. Angela's like, follow Philbin. His wife said no more than 2 bags of chips. It's like, calm down.
The face recognition when you walk in.
Make sure Mark gets vegetables. There's a whole section over there. But what a tremendous family. And to Ian, his son, who has the store now.
Looks after it.
He knows the legacy. I don't need to tell him. He knows the legacy of the Smileys and what they do in the community. And on behalf of the community, to John, all the best, Godspeed, and to his family, thank you for sharing him with us.
Yes, because he's not from this area. You shared a story this morning about him starting out in the Muskoka, and you actually knew where he started. It
was called voted Canada's best country store.
Yes.
And it's called Robinson's in Dorset on Highway 35 in the 117 split.
How big would it be?
Dorset?
The store.
The store. It's not big. And like a lot of these stores, it's 2 levels. And it's odd. It's at odd angles, and you can't walk up the stairs.
That's what I'm picturing, like just an old building that's been converted into.
Yeah, and it says it has Wi-Fi, but it's really just somebody there who will take a message for you. That's why. I'll look it up for you.
Yeah.
But it's a small Muskoka town. It's a little thing with an LCBO, little grocery store, get some ice cream and a real estate spot. So you can look in the window and see that a cottage is $2 million, right?
Exactly.
Like these places, like Dorset. So anyway, he said that's where he got his start and learned the grocery business and stayed in it. And so I said, well, I love that store. We got talking about that store back in November. And my wife came over because she heard us laughing, so that can't be good. And sure enough, it was like, yeah, we just love that place. We can picture it. Told the story. She said, yeah, I got my first speeding ticket on the 117. All right, Leadfoot. But what a great guy, And so all the awards and the accolades, and we could sit here and still not do him justice for what he did. So if you are a business person in Quinte West, please do a little bit to step up. It's going to take a lot of people to catch up to all the stuff that he had done, because we don't want any of that stuff to fall through the cracks.
No.
Especially as a pandemic, as we all get a little bit more comfortable and strengthen the fabric of the community, that's sure. Have a great weekend. You're off and about, right?
Yeah, I'm going to head to Trenton.
Yep.
The Trenton Kinsman Club has a carnival going on this weekend. It kicked off yesterday, and when I saw that, we've been talking about it here on the air, I thought, that's going to be so much fun.
Yep.
So I got our bracelets, and we're going to head down tomorrow to Centennial Park and enjoy that.
I have 3 words for you. Mm-hmm. Tilt, whirl.
Oh, several times, along with the scrambler. That's where I will be.
Too spinny for me. Can't do it.
What?
Too spinny.
Oh, the scrambler I would almost put above the tilt-a-whirl. Last time I did the tilt-a-whirl, though, Nathan went green.
Yeah.
So it's probably just going to be me. So if you see a single person on the tilt-a-whirl.
Looking panicked, like, where are my children?
No, I won't.
Have you figured out the pattern of the tilt-a-whirl? You know, there's a pattern, right?
There's a pattern.
No,
there's no pattern.
There is a pattern.
What is the pattern?
If you're on a tilt-a-whirl, watch the car in front of you, because whatever pattern it goes through on the spinny, that's you in 2 more revolutions. So when they get really, really spinny, wait for it. 2 revolutions from now, that's going to be you. Called it. I'm a freak. I follow the patterns of the tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah. That is.
I have a lot of time on my hands. I'm a very observant person.
I don't think ever in my lifetime would I have ever figured that out without you telling me.
I know you think there isn't.
And now I'm going to be staring at it.
Watch it.
I'm going to be standing there. So, okay, no, I won't be on the ride. I'll be the one standing off to the side watching the cars go by.
When you see a spike of spin, now watch the car behind it 2 revolutions from now, and there it is. So we'll talk about that on Monday.
Okay.
You have yourself a great weekend, okay?
You too.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast, Belleville, Ontario, Canada, this Friday, June 3rd, wherever you get your favorite podcast. We're back at it again on Monday. Enjoy your weekend.